Hi, how you doing? Obviously I've not put out any videos for the last couple of weeks. I've been away, spent a couple of weeks in the middle of nowhere in a group of little islands off the southwest coast of Cornwall, learning how to sail amongst other things, which was pretty fantastic. But interestingly, while I was away, there was a bit of a firestorm on Facebook about HEMA. And most of it passed me by, which is a shame because apparently I was quite deeply involved in this, even though I wasn't actually there or taking part. And the basic summary is that some people think HEMA is dead because we're focusing too much on old manuals and manuscripts and we're not creating a modern that's ready for fighting in the streets, not real world enough for them. And I thought that it would be an interesting thing to revisit what HEMA actually is. Firstly, HEMA is an acronym. For those of you that don't know, you may have come across the word before, HEMA. It stands for Historical European Martial Arts. And that's really important. As a term, it was coined in the main by a small group of us, me, Matt Easton, Fabrice Cognaud, a few other people, around about the time that HEMAC was formed. We got together and we decided that what we'd do is we'd create a group of all the active research practitioners within Western martial arts, as it was known then, and we'd kind of create a society where we shared our research with each other. And that's gone from strength to strength, and HEMAC's basically been responsible for the boom within HEMA in Europe. And at least one of the major American organisations modelled itself very much on HEMAC as an organisation. So that was when HEMA first started to be used. And it was very much a conscious decision on the point of Matt, myself, Fabrice and a few other people that that's what we do. Because we figured that just saying Western martial arts didn't actually describe what we were doing. Because not only was it from the Western world, it was quite specifically from Europe. But also, very specifically, it was a historical art. And that's the really important thing that seems to have completely passed some people by, in that the whole point of HEMA is that we are focusing on historical arts. In the main, these arts died out, and we're recreating them based on original source material. So, knowledge of that original source material and the ability to put those techniques as they are described into practice is absolutely essential for HEMA. Now, it may well be that you look at historical treatises and you see techniques and you adapt them for your own use in a more modern form of martial art, and that's absolutely fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not strictly HEMA. So, to say that HEMA's dead because people are focusing on historical sources and recreating the arts within them is, well, it's crazy, to be perfectly honest. HEMA isn't self-defense. HEMA isn't tournament fighting. HEMA isn't doing drills. HEMA is essentially recreating historical martial arts that originated within Europe. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a few arts out there that still have a living lineage. And that puts you in an interesting situation because the HEMA researcher in me wants to do these arts as they were done, say, 200 years ago. But I can't learn, say, catch-as-catch-can wrestling as it was done 200 years ago. I can learn catch-as-catch-can wrestling as it's taught by Billy Robinson, or as it was taught by Billy Robinson, who learned it from Billy Riley, who learned it from Pops Charnock, and so on back. But at every step of the way, that's evolved and adapted. So that the art that I was taught by Billy isn't the same thing that people from Wigan were using to wrestle 150, 200 years ago. The lineage has allowed it to evolve. So when you look at something like catch-as-catch-can that has a living lineage still, however small that lineage is and however close to dying out it can, it does still have this lineage, and thankfully that's growing now. What's being taught isn't the same as what was being taught. So effectively you can say there are two different forms of catch-as-catch-can from a purely HEMA point of view. Now, I love the more modern form of it, the form that's focusing a little bit more on mixed martial arts, sort of things that Eric Paulson and Josh Barnett are teaching. Fantastic, and hopefully I'll have a little bit more knowledge about that in a couple of weeks, because I'm going off to train for several days with Josh Barnett and Wade Chavez. So I'll tell you more about that later. But for now, HEMA is historical. So if somebody says to you, your HEMA isn't right, it's dying, it's dead, because it's not modern, it's not street effective, it's not the sort of thing you could use as a doorman, bollocks to it. It's not supposed to be. That's a bit like saying your car's crap because it's not a sledge. So that's my thoughts on why HEMA isn't dead. Take care, guys.